The movie opens with three men being brought before a Yakuza boss. They are each handed a knife and ordered to cut off their pinky fingers as punishment. Two of them obey immediately, but the third man refuses. Because of his disobedience, his entire head is cut off instead. Afterwards, the men are given plane tickets and told to travel to Normal, Minnesota, where they must redeem themselves. We are then introduced to Ulysses, the town's new temporary sheriff. He's standing outside a motel when one of the sheriff's deputies, Mike, arrives to pick him up. Ulysses is clearly trying to rebuild his life. He wants to repair his broken marriage and leave behind the violent past that still haunts him. On his way to the sheriff's station, as they drive through town, Ulysses notices that the people seem friendly and peaceful. Some of the locals wave at him from the streets while businesses are opening for the day. When they arrive at the sheriff's station, Ulysses walks into the middle of an argument. He tries to step in, but since it's his first day on the job, he seems unsure about how to handle the situation. He introduces himself as the new sheriff, but before he can say much more, one of the deputies, Blaine, steps in and assures the man that he will handle everything. "I give everyone donuts," Blaine jokes. Later, Blaine tells Ulysses to hold on to the sheriff's bag for him because he hopes to become the next permanent sheriff of the town someday. Ulysses settles into the sheriff's office. Most of the former sheriff's belongings are still there, including old photographs and personal items. While looking around, he discovers the former sheriff's death certificate, which states that the man froze to death. He also notices a gun with the words "From Dad" engraved on it. Curious, Ulysses visits the station's armory and is shocked to see an enormous collection of weapons, including military-grade firearms and even C4 explosives. When his coffee is suddenly refilled, he asks one of the deputies why a small, peaceful town would need so many weapons. She explains that the former sheriff was the one who brought all the guns into the station. Despite the strange armory, the station itself feels calm and friendly. Everyone seems to get along well. Later, Ulysses meets a woman named Moira and gives her a parking ticket, warning her to park properly next time. That evening, Ulysses visits a local bar, but to his surprise, the entire place is decorated with guns. Firearms cover the walls as if they're ordinary decorations. At the same time, television reports warn that a massive blizzard is approaching the town. That night, Ulysses suffers from another terrible nightmare. It becomes clear that he is still struggling with PTSD from his violent past. The next morning, he steps outside his motel and notices a red liquid splattered across the snow. Thinking it is blood, he cautiously approaches, only to discover a moose nearby with paint covering its antlers. Soon afterwards, Ulysses attends the funeral of the former sheriff. During the ceremony, Mike gives Ulysses the sheriff's badge back. He even helps pin it onto Ulysses' uniform, symbolizing his acceptance into the role. Later, Ulysses visits the former sheriff's office inside his home. There, he finds bottles of alcohol and photographs showing the sheriff together with several townspeople. The doctor approaches him, and the two begin to talk. Ulysses asks questions about the former sheriff's death while they share a few drinks together. The doctor admits that he believes the former sheriff may have gotten drunk before wandering out into the snow and freezing to death. A little later, the town mayor approaches them and politely asks the doctor to give them some privacy. The mayor then asks Ulysses how everything is going and what he thinks about the town. He wants to know if Ulysses likes living there. Eventually, the mayor reveals that he hopes Ulysses will stay permanently and become the town's full-time sheriff. While looking out the window during their conversation, Ulysses notices Blaine turning away a young woman outside the house. When Ulysses asks Mike about her, Mike quietly explains that she's the former sheriff's daughter.
Ulysses goes to eat at the local bar, where he meets Moira again. She invites him to play pool with her, but he admits that he does not know how to play. Instead, she asks him to simply keep her company, and the two begin talking. During their conversation, Ulysses asks Moira about the former sheriff. She tells him that the former sheriff loved fishing and spent a lot of his free time out on the lake. As they continue drinking together, Moira asks Ulysses if he has a wife. He tells her that he does, but their marriage is going through a very difficult time. He then opens up about the traumatic incident that caused him to leave his previous job. He explains that there was a young girl he failed to save in time. According to him, the girl eventually killed both her father and herself, and the guilt from that tragedy still haunts him. That night, Ulysses suffers another nightmare about the same girl. The next morning, as he heads out for work, he notices Lori standing beside a vending machine, struggling to get it to give him what she wants. Ulysses helps her retrieve the item from the machine. At that moment, Keith arrives to meet Lori, but as soon as he sees Ulysses, he immediately turns around and walks away. Later at the station, Ulysses spends some time approving paperwork while Mike checks in on him to see how he's adjusting to the town. On his way home, Ulysses notices Alex's van parked on the side of the road. Concerned, he stops to check on her and discovers that she has been drinking heavily. Ulysses climbs into the van and shares a few drinks with her while they talk. During the conversation, he notices that Alex is carrying a gun. Realizing she's intoxicated, Ulysses carefully takes the weapon away from her for safety reasons. He then brings Alex back to the sheriff's station so she can sleep off the alcohol. Meanwhile, Lori and Keith drive off together in their car. The following morning, Ulysses brings Alex some breakfast so she can eat after the long night. At the station, Mike is in the middle of giving a presentation to Ulysses when suddenly an alarm begins blaring throughout the building. Blaine quickly rushes over and removes the documents that were sitting in front of the alarm panel. They soon realize that the alarm is coming from the town bank, meaning the bank is being robbed. Inside the bank, Lori and Keith are holding the customers at gunpoint while robbing the place. The two Japanese men whose pinky fingers were cut off earlier are revealed to be working there as security guards. Suddenly, one of the customers suffers a heart attack and collapses onto the floor. Keith tries to help the man while chaos spreads throughout the bank. At the same time, one of the Yakuza men secretly sends an SOS message to his boss. The Yakuza immediately realize that something has gone wrong. Ulysses quickly drives to the bank. Inside, one of the Yakuza guards suddenly attacks Keith and stabs him in the back. Lori reacts instantly and shoots the man directly in his bulletproof vest. She then shoots the second guard in the face. As he falls, his finger accidentally squeezed the trigger of his shotgun, firing a blast that mistakenly hits his own partner. Lori rushes over to Keith, but during the gunfire, a bullet fragment strikes Keith in the neck. At that moment, the police arrive and park outside the bank. Ulysses notices Lori's dog nearby and immediately suspects that Lori and Keith are the ones behind the robbery. Mike and Blaine step out of the police car carrying automatic rifles. Ulysses decides to peacefully speak with the robbers first. He raises his hands in the air to show Lori that he's not there to attack her and only wants to talk. Just then, Blaine receives a call and his expression suddenly changes. Inside the bank, Lori notices a gun lying on the floor. Without warning, Blaine and Mike suddenly open fire on Ulysses, shooting him multiple times. Thankfully, his bulletproof vest absorbs the shots and saves his life. Ulysses quickly returns fire, hitting Blaine in the ear. Mike then fires directly into the bank, accidentally hitting some of the hostages and crashing glass around them. Ulysses tries to help one of the injured people stand up, but Mike shoots the person in the forehead before they can escape. Forced to retreat, Ulysses hides behind cover. As the gunfight continues, some of the terrified bank customers manage to run out of the building. Outside, in the snow, Blaine picks up the piece of his ear that was shot off. Confused and terrified, Lori asks Ulysses why his own deputies are trying to kill him. At that moment, the bank manager slowly opens the bank vault.
Ulysses discovers that the town vault is secretly being used by the Yakuza to launder money all around the world. The bank manager suddenly panics and tries to escape. Ulysses chases after him through the bank. Desperate, the bank manager attempts to grab a gun, but in his panic, he accidentally shoots himself and dies instantly. Meanwhile, Mike tries to enter the bank through the back door. Ulysses fires through the door, barely missing him. Inside the bank, Lori is extremely worried about Keith, who is still bleeding heavily from his injuries.
Ulysses decides to call the mayor in an attempt to peacefully settle the situation. However, the mayor reveals his true colors. He tells Ulysses that the only way out for him is to kill Lori and Keith and join their side. While searching through the weapons inside the bank, Lori discovers a grenade launcher. Outside, the mayor orders his men to get ready for war. Ulysses refuses to accept the mayor's offer. At that moment, the mayor notices a moose standing nearby in the snow. He believes it is a sign of good luck because according to the town's superstition, anyone who sees the moose will not die. Suddenly, all the lights in town go out. Using the darkness to his advantage, Ulysses loads the grenade launcher. His very first shot explodes directly beside the mayor, blowing him apart instantly. The battle fully erupts. Ulysses begins firing grenades at the police cars parked outside the bank, destroying them one after another. Amid the chaos, he, Lori, and Keith fight their way out of the bank and escape into the blizzard-covered streets of the town. Joe shoots one of the frightened townsmen because the Yakuza are coming to kill everyone if the situation is not handled quickly. A massive gunfight breaks out across the streets. Bullets fly everywhere as Ulysses takes down enemies one after another. Eventually, they hide inside a nearby house. Inside the house, Ulysses tries using the woman's radio to call for help, not realizing that she is also one of the corrupt townspeople working with the others. Without warning, she opens fire on him. Ulysses narrowly manages to escape and hide behind cover while Lori shoots back at the woman. Soon, Lori runs out of bullets. Thinking quickly, Ulysses pushes a heavy desk toward the woman, knocking her off balance. Lori then overpowers her and kills her during the struggle. Meanwhile, the sheriff deputies regroup and gather more weapons and more men to continue hunting Ulysses down. Keith continues growing weaker from the stab wound, and Lori becomes increasingly worried that he may not survive. When they head back outside, Ulysses is suddenly shot and crashes through a window of a shop. Inside the store, a man attacks him with a crowbar. Just as he swings for another hit, the crowbar gets stuck. The two men engage in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. The attacker gains the upper hand and grabs an axe, preparing to kill Ulysses. At the last second, Ulysses sprays chemicals into the man's eyes, blinding him temporarily. That gives Ulysses the opportunity to overpower him. The man desperately tries opening a safe box to retrieve another weapon, but Ulysses takes him down before he can open it. Outside, Lori and Keith are still under heavy gunfire. Keith has become too weak to continue fighting properly. One of the attackers rushes toward Lori with a knife, but suddenly a damaged signboard that had been weakened by earlier gunfire falls directly onto the man's head, killing him instantly. Keith grabs one of the stolen gold bars as they continue escaping. At the same time, Ulysses begins throwing C4 explosives at the attackers. Massive explosions tear through the streets, killing several of them. With very little ammunition left, Ulysses practically turned the C4 into his main weapon. Mike picks up one of the explosives, not realizing what it is, and it detonates in his hand, killing him instantly. By now, Ulysses has become a complete nightmare for the remaining attackers. Meanwhile, the Yakuza boss is already on his way to town. Ulysses, Lori, and Keith eventually find a tractor and attempt to escape, but before they can leave, Sally suddenly appears in front of them carrying a rifle. Before Sally can fire, Ulysses attacks Sally. During the struggle, a police car crashes into Sally, crushing and killing her. Ulysses then tells Lori and Keith to leave town and build a new life for themselves using the gold bars they stole from the bank. He watches silently as they drive away into the storm-covered town. Joe and his remaining men notice Lori and Keith escaping, but by this point, their main target is now Ulysses. As Lori drives away, she carries her dog with her. Back in town, Ulysses prepares himself for the final battle. Suddenly, Moira shoots him. Wounded and exhausted, Ulysses slowly sits down and asks Moira for a drink. Moira hands him a bottle. During their conversation, Ulysses confesses that he was actually the one who shot the young girl's father in the past, not herself. Moira then reveals her own dark secret. She admits that she was the one who killed the former sheriff. According to her, she poisoned him, poured water on him, and left him outside during the blizzard so he would freeze to death. Eventually, Moira raises her shotgun and prepares to kill Ulysses. However, Alex is still locked inside the police cell nearby. Using her belt, she manages to pull the shotgun just enough to ruin Moira's aim. Moira fires but misses Ulysses. Alex quickly grabs a gun and shoots Moira dead. Afterwards, Ulysses gives Alex her father's gun. Alex then drives a bulletproof van out of a sheriff's station while Joe, Blaine, and the remaining deputies fire endlessly at it, but the bullets cannot penetrate the armor. Alex secretly plants C4 inside the bank. At this point, Joe and Blaine are forced to cooperate with Ulysses because they realize that if the Yakuza discover the truth, everyone in town will be killed. Together, they begin cleaning up the town and pretending everything is normal before the Yakuza arrive. They hide all the dead bodies and repair as much of the damage from the fighting as possible. When the Yakuza finally arrive, Ulysses and Blaine greet them calmly. They slowly escort the Yakuza to the bank, carefully delaying their movement through town. Once inside the vault, the Yakuza boss is pleased to see that the gold bars and money appear untouched. Later, everyone gathers at the bar for food and drinks. The atmosphere becomes strangely celebratory. Eventually, Blaine raises a glass and makes a toast to everyone. As he pops the cork from the bottle, the cork flies upward and strikes a hanging light. The light crashes into a wooden carved decoration, which then falls against a rifle mounted on the wall. The rifle accidentally fires. The bullet flies directly into the Yakuza boss's head, killing him instantly. Immediately, Ulysses flips over a table to protect himself and Alex as complete chaos erupts once again. Another massive gunfight breaks out between the Yakuza and the sheriff's deputies. Bullets tear through the bar at close range as everyone desperately fights for survival, their jobs, and their lives. The shooting becomes incredibly fast and brutal. Even Alex proves herself deadly in combat, rapidly taking down multiple Yakuza members. Meanwhile, Ulysses and Joe engage in a vicious hand-to-hand fight. Joe manages to stab Ulysses, but in return, Ulysses stabs Joe directly in the neck, killing him. In the end, Ulysses, Alex, and Blaine are the only major survivors. 3 months later, Ulysses and Alex have moved to Texas, where they both work new sheriff jobs and finally live peaceful lives. Back in Minnesota, Blaine officially becomes the new sheriff of the town and happily settles into his position. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the notification bell for more movie recaps.